Hello and welcome to this afternoon taste challenge. We have, and this is a recoup of one I had to do, but this is it's not really a challenge. It's a tasting because there ain't gonna be any challenge in it. There's no way the one I'm about to show you has any chance of winning. No reasonable chance of winning. It's impossible. But we're gonna do it just for the exercise. This is Royal Kentucky bourbon with natural flavors. And it says finest quality on the crown above the royal. See the crown above the royal? The crown above the royal. See a crown, then royal, a crown, then royal, a crown, then royal. And it's royal blue. It's a simplistic label, but not a terrible looking label. I don't know. I didn't think Kentucky had a king, but thought they had a governor. But anyway, you might say, sorry, ding ding, bourbon whiskey is not allowed to have flavoring added. That's illegal. You cannot add coloring or flavor to bourbon. And I would say, ding ding, you're right. This isn't a bourbon. It's a distilled specialty spirit, or as they say on the Heaven Hill website, Royal Spirit Blend. Now, your counterpoint would be, it says bourbon clearly on the label. I'm looking at it. Kentucky bourbon whiskey. That's right. But it's not a bourbon whiskey. It's a Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Can't flavor bourbon. Are you insane? You can't add flavor into bourbon. It's not a flavored bourbon. It's a bourbon with natural flavors. Okay. Here is Stedman Select. Beautiful bottle with a chime on it. You know that's good. Now that you say, well, that bottle looks just like Benchmark or Ancient Age or Canadian Hunter. Yeah, you're right, because it's from I.W.A. Distilling. You say, I ain't never heard of I.W.A. Distilling. Yeah, neither has anybody else. It's actually, you want to guess? Anyone? Buffalo Trace. Why does Buffalo Trace put out these strange products with alias names? This I do not know. But I know it's from Buffalo Trace, and I know it has this strange feel to the label, like it's a finest grain sandpaper you can buy. You know, you can get sandpaper that's like the finest grain for very light sanding. It's like that. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, sour mash, slow matured in select American white oak barrels. 86 proof. Oh, you say, I know what they're doing. They're trying to go against Evan Williams. I think you're probably right, but still can't understand why they don't just say Buffalo Trace on it. And there's a real guy, Ebenezer Hiram Stedman, and his brother Sam acquired their Bluegrass Region Mill Complex in 1833. Little did they know, ... And it's a whole paragraph on the back. You can read it at your leisure. I saw one local store had this last week for $18.99. No, Sunday I saw it $18.99 for this huge bottle. That makes this about the same size as that per ounce. Same price per ounce, excuse me. I bought this at Walmart. Now, when I first bought it at Walmart in 2018, I was saying, this must be a private label. It's made just for Walmart. Yeah, that's what's going on. But then I started seeing it at other liquor stores, Total Wine and More, Star, other liquor stores. I'm like, no, guess it ain't a private label. I guess I just didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, I never said it definitively. I just said it seemed like it was, but it wasn't. Same thing with Caliber. Walmart always has Caliber rum, spice rum, Caliber blended Canadian whiskey, Caliber vodka, Caliber gin, Caliber triple sec or something. Yeah, so they got all these calibers And I saw some today because somebody put it in the wrong section. And I thought, yeah, that's just a private label for Walmart. Yep, yep. That's what I thought till I saw it at other liquor stores. I've been to a number of liquor stores, in fact, who sell Caliber. And some of them sell them in glass bottles. I thought it was all plastic. But I think it's just the liqueurs that are in the glass. But I may not know that correctly. But I mean, Walmart, they got the cheapest liquor. Like in 2022, you could get Caliber vodka, $5.96 a bottle. Talking about regular size. Caliber gin, $5.96. Caliber Canadian blended whiskey, $5.96. The rum, $5.96. The bottle, the bottle. All right, the vodka, $5.96, and so forth. You say, well, I don't have a lot of money. I can't afford a lot for liquor. Well, there you go. I just named 5 or 6, and they're good. Well, they are good. The Caliber Canadian whiskey is good. Now it looks like the Stedman Select is a little bit darker, but not too much. So I'm not saying Caliber is some great thing. Don't, come on now. But it does come from Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, and probably Glenmore Distillery, the rum, because I know Glenmore does rum. Kentucky rum, and nothing says rum like Kentucky, right? But I thought the Caliber rum was good. Now I got the Caribbean version. I think if you go to Walmart now, it says Caribbean style. It's made in Kentucky, but the one I had is from the Caribbean islands, the West Indies. Because the Glenmore Distillery wasn't ready yet. They tore it all down. They had to rebuild it. They went down to the foundation. It was so dilapidated. Now it's a state of the art thing. It's like brand new. Now, was the Caliber clear rum? I still have half the bottle. Is it good? It's good, but it's strange. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's like you say, I drink Bacardi Superior all the time. Oh, well, it's going to be a lot different than that. We'll call the flavor other than standard. But I couldn't say it was a bad flavor. I enjoyed the flavor. I still enjoy it. How about the Caliber Canadian whiskey? Yeah, it's just like as good as any of the other Canadian whiskeys that you find at the store. Like literally, but it's half the price. So I'm not saying it's as good as Crown Royal. Let's not go that far. But on the other hand, you're going to pay $25 for Crown Royal. In Caliber, you're going to pay $6 minus 4 cents, $5.96. Are you going to lose that much? No, you're not. You certainly aren't. I mean, you're not going to impress any guests. I wouldn't give it as a Christmas present. But if you just drink Canadian whiskey every day after work, that's your winner right there. Unfortunately, most people live in a state that doesn't allow Walmart to sell liquor, which defeats the whole purpose of what I just said. In Florida, Walmart cannot sell liquor, except that they have a section next to Walmart on the same property attached to their building called Walmart Liquor Store. So all you gotta do is walk out the store and go around and walk back in to the liquor store. It's a stupid law, right? I mean, it makes no sense, does it? You can't buy. Are you crazy? This is Florida. You can't buy liquor in Florida at a grocery store. Are you out of your mind? But you can buy it at Walmart liquor store. Oh, where's that? Oh, it's in the same building as the Walmart grocery store, the marketplace. Oh, well, isn't that kind of like the same thing? Okay, same thing with Texas. Same thing in Texas. Can't buy liquor in Texas at a grocery store. Are you out of your mind? You go to Fiesta in Houston, Texas. You can buy beer and wine at Fiesta, and tortillas and milk and packaged sausage. Fine, cabbage. Can't buy liquor. Are you crazy? But you can go right out the door and turn to your right and go right back in the door at Fiesta Liquor Store. See how these laws are so dumb. You're so dumb. They're so very dumb. Okay. This smells like corn, grits, fermented, then distilled. Smells like charred oak. What you call it? Honeysuckle nectar. It smells like just regular old bourbon. Is it worse than Evan Williams? Certainly not. Is it better than Evan Williams? Doubtfully. Is it almost identical to Evan Williams? Probably. Is it an obvious attempt to gain business from them? Look at the label. Tell me what you think. Do I care? No. This smells like nothing. I mean, not literally nothing. I can smell some corn grits. I can smell charred oak. I can smell sweet sugar, whatever it is. I can smell vanilla and all of those things. But they're so low. They're so low. You just gotta know that it ain't gonna go with the flow. Okay. All right. Help me. Where do I go? Who do I turn to? Maxwell says, hello, Ron. Hello to you, Maxwell, in the Russian Federation. Here we go. This has got to be the Stedman Select. I like how they call it the legendary. I'm like, oh, it's so legendary. It's been around since 2018, you know, nearly 5 years. It's legendary. Yeah, wrong. All right, taste. Have I regretted buying Royal and doing taste challenges with it? No, I haven't. I haven't regretted it. But on the other hand, I'm not going to get up here talking about how great it is because it's clearly not anything close to great. What word is it close to? More like adequate, or let's say tolerable. Stedman Select isn't really great. But then is Buffalo Trace great? I tried Buffalo Trace. I liked it. It tasted nice. It was $23 and it tasted like about a $23 bourbon. And it's still like about $23. Even with the JB inflation, hasn't really gone up in price, and the availabilities come back. Now you say Blanton's, it's the same way. Oh no, Blanton's is really good. Anybody that says that, I don't go along with that. Blanton still hadn't gone up in price, still $59.95. It's awesome. I thoroughly loved every sip of that Blanton's. That's the. I watch some of these videos and people are like, it ain't really that good. I'm like, what am I watching? And then they'll talk about, I had to pay $120 for it. I'm like, well, that's your problem because it's $59.99 in Louisiana. Not that you can ever find it. You'd be lucky if you find it once a year, but I see it around. You got to talk to the right people. It's like Sazerac rye. I see people do videos. They say, I live in Rhode Island. I live in Maine. I paid $100 for this. I'm like, are you? And I'll shake my head like, what? Blah, 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 blah. And I tell them, I say, you know what the price is in Louisiana? It's $18.99 all the time. It's always $18.99 on sale somewhere. It's like each store takes turns. They're like, well, next week we'll have it on sale for $18.99 because they never have it at the same time. So I know there's some collusion going on. Like they never have it at the same time. Like this store chain will have it for $18.99, and then another store chain will have it, and then the other one won't. So I'm like, okay, I know what's going on. Am I going to report them to the government? No, because I support that. I support collusion. I'm a free enterprise person. I'm not a regulation person. And don't tell me, look how they cheating you. How are they cheating me? It's $18.99. And they got people up north talking about they paid $100 for it. And you could always get it down here. Well, the headquarters of Sazerac is only 30 miles from here. 31 maybe, but I don't know if it's 31. But they're big distilleries in Kentucky, Buffalo Trace. They do a little bit of distilling in New Orleans, and you can take samples at the little distillery, but that's just a small, very small scale distillery. The big scale, the massive scale is in Frankfort, Kentucky, Buffalo Trace. A fabulous visit. One of the best tourist attractions I ever went to, and it's totally free. Totally free. Free parking, free tour, and free samples. And they are very generous in their samples. You'll be like wobbling when you leave that place. Free. What would I buy? Buffalo Trace or Stedman Select? I buy Stedman Select every time. I would never buy Buffalo Trace over Stedman Select because Buffalo Trace is not as good as Stedman Select. It's good. I like it. I'm not one of these Buffalo Trace haters. They're out there on the internet. They got like this like pet project to hate on Buffalo Trace. Don't ask me why. But I just think Stedman Select is 86 proof, first of all. It's sour mash, straight bourbon. I don't think Buffalo Trace is sour mash. It's only aged 3 years. Okay, that's a negative. Buffalo Trace got no age statement, so we know it's at least 4 years old. But it's just, it's not. I'm not saying it's worse, but it's not better. And ain't no way you're gonna get a handle of Buffalo Trace for $18.99. That's impossible. So yeah, Stedman Select is one of your secret weapons of the bourbon world. One of the secret weapons of the bourbon world. You could mess up a lot of people in a blind taste test. Or you could shame them. You know these bourbon snobs that where they are. They're everywhere, talking, and they love to drop names. I hear them all the time in the store. They love to drop names. Yeah, I was drinking some Elmer T. Lee. I got a 1985 bottle. It was $1,700. And they just go. It's like, okay, wow. I'm like, well, I rode in the elevator with Barbara Jordan once. But and they just would never ever dream of buying any bourbon below $100. I mean, please. But you could bring, but then of course they would never do a blind taste test either. They're not going to take that risk. But you could destroy them on a blind taste test because they would be all highfalutin, and then you'd be like, oh, you think that was really good, huh? Oh, it's awesome. Oh, well, it's Stedman Select. Oh yeah, well, I knew it had something wrong with it. Well, you didn't say it. Now you're discovering all these errors ex post facto. Okay, so Royal, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not exactly promoting it by any means. But on the other hand, I'm not exactly demoting it because it is kind of all right in a certain context now. Let's use some discretion in our evaluatory facilities, but faculties. But it's technically, and I mean the most strict technical sense of the word, not a bourbon. In the reality of it, in the real practical sense of the word, it's obviously a bourbon, and they're adding flavoring to it. You say, but that's illegal. But I just went through all of that earlier. They want to play games, I'll play along. Yeah, Stedman Select is super solid. When I saw that on the shelf at Walmart 4 years ago, I was like, what is this? And my immediate thought was, oh, this is going to be some nasty stuff. It's funny though, because I always say that, and then it almost invariably is not nasty. It's always like, well, this is way better than I thought. It's not nasty at all. So, Quality House, which is coming up Saturday. Yeah, I have a problem with that, but it's not a flavor problem. The flavor is actually enjoyable. It's the proof issue. Why are you selling me a Kentucky blended whiskey and it's only 70 proof when the law clearly states that whiskey must be 80 proof? But it's the same thing. See, they're going to say it's not a whiskey. It's a flavored whiskey. And if you read and that's what Heaven Hill would say. If you read the regulations carefully, it clearly says flavored whiskey must be at least 60 proof. Well, this is 70 proof. It's 10 proof above the required minimum. So, sir, why are you saying this? This is not a whiskey of any sort. It's a flavored whiskey. So they're going to get you. They're not going to, let me tell you something. These liquor companies are not going to violate the law. They might push the law to the edge of the cliff, but they're not going to violate it. All right, so, and the Tax and Trade Bureau isn't going to really come after these people. They're not coming after Heaven Hill. They're not coming after Sazerac, Buffalo Trace. They're not coming after Diageo, and they're not coming after Beam Suntory, or who owns Old Forester and Jack Daniels? You know what I'm talking about. Brown Foreman. They're not coming after them. They might come after Mom and Pop or Shablip Brewing. Like in the college football, they're not coming after Texas or Southern California or Penn State, but they might come after Houston or Memphis or Northwestern if they win the championship, because then all of a sudden, oh, y'all got violations. You didn't, you committed recruiting violations. Well, what did we do? Well, there was a paperwork form C119956, and it says you must put your name on line 3, but you put your name on line 4. Well, how come the other people never get in trouble for that? Well, we don't know. Okay. Pretty good taste challenge, but not really that challenging. So I'll be so excited to get through the blended whiskey. No knock against that. It's a style, it's a legitimate style, whatever. But we don't disparage styles on this channel. Styles exist in their own right. You just don't like it, don't drink it. But I will be looking forward to Canadian whiskey, because I have a wonderful Canadian whiskey coming up, and it's called Crown Royal XO. I'm sure that's going to draw the termites out the wood, because you got your Crown Royal haters. If there was any Canadian whiskey that people hate Canadian whiskey, just right there, well, I don't know why. But if you say Crown Royal, their eyes roll back in their head and they have a seizure and they run across the room. I hate Crown Royal. I hate Crown Royal. It's like, I wasn't even talking to you. All right, anyway. Thanks for watching. And yeah, Royal, I have to give you credit. You never won a single challenge. And you're never going to win one. But yeah, still not terrible. In fact, you could make an argument that it's sort of kind of marginally good. Thanks for watching this video production.